Eclipse season is here. Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? Eclipses are like hold on, let me backtrack. I'm about to get into it. I ain't even told y'all who I am. I don't think I introduced myself in the last video either. Hi, I'm Grace. Grace Alana, Grace the astrologer, whatever you want to call me, just make sure you calling me something nice. I am a professional astrologer. I do natal chart readings for a living, and I talk about astrology on this YouTube channel, on my TikTok, on all the platforms. And today's video is going to be about this upcoming eclipse season. So we are in the second set of eclipses. We are experiencing our first Pisces eclipse, and I know last eclipse season it was only one of the two. I want to say that it would, hold on. Okay, I was wrong. I'm looking at my handy dandy ephemeris, and we had the first Virgo eclipse on March 14th. So this is the first Pisces eclipse that we are going to experience on this axis. Now the nodes are on the Pisces Virgo axis from January 11th of this year to July 30th of 2026, I believe. But yeah, the nodes stay in a sign for an 18-month period, and where the eclipses happen is when we have a full moon or a new moon taking place in the same sign that the nodes are in. Now, eclipses are seen as omens, crazy transits, which can often bring significant endings, significant beginnings, revelations, releases, and disruptions. And we have the first eclipse taking place. The total lunar eclipse is going to take place on September 7th at 2:09 p.m. at 15 degrees of Pisces. And then the partial solar eclipse, our first Virgo eclipse, is going to take place on September 21st at 3:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at 29 degrees of Virgo. So let's get into the first eclipse. Pisces is a mutable water sign that's associated with things like dreams, faith, illusions, fantasy. And an eclipse here is really asking us to let go of any false stories, any broken illusions, any emotional baggage that has been weighing us down. And one thing that I can say, just generally speaking, about this eclipse cycle period is that I feel like the main lesson, the main mission, the main purpose of these eclipses is to help us realize our relationship between control and our relationship between letting go and releasing things. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like that is the essence of the Pisces Virgo axis. Because when you think about Virgo is a sign that's all about the details. It's very analytical, it's very critical, it's very particular. It's all about like structure and routine and habits and being effective and being productive. And then you have Pisces on the opposite end, which is Pisces is the most free-flowing of all of the zodiac signs. Again, it's a mutable water sign. And Pisces energy is associated with, like, again, like dreams, fantasies, illusion. And I feel like that axis is Virgo is realism. Pisces is fantasy and imagination. Virgo is control. Pisces is going with the flow. And that whole axis and the whole purpose of the eclipse is because the north node represents increase, the south node represents decrease. The north node is in Virgo. The north node is in Pisces, the south node is in Virgo. So yeah, it's a time too, with the north node in Pisces, it's a time for us to really relinquish control what you can and let go of what you can't. But it's a time to be more free-flowing. It's a time to be more adaptable. It's a time to let go of the things that we are holding on to and trying to fix and trying to force and trying to manipulate into a thing or a situation that we want it to be. But really, again, we should just be flowing, moving, chilling. So in general, with this eclipse in Pisces, this total lunar eclipse, you might find yourself feeling more drained, more foggy, or more sensitive than usual. Because again, Pisces is a mutable water sign, and I would say that Pisces is one of the most sensitive signs, if not the most sensitive sign. And thinking about what's been hiding under the surface, if it's secrets, if it's deceptions, unclear situations, etc., can come to light suddenly. Pisces, again, is a sign that's associated with illusions and fantasy. This eclipse is going to strip them away, even if this is something that feels uncomfortable at first. This eclipse can shake your relationship with faith, spirituality, or your belief systems, because Pisces is a very intuitive spiritual sign, and again, it's ruled by Jupiter, which is the planet of spirituality. This eclipse might cause some people to step away from blind devotion. You might start to think about, like, okay, why do I believe this? Why am I following this? Why am I supporting this person? And other people might feel more compelled or drawn to connect with people or connect with things that might help them answer questions or find something, whatever that may be. And again, being that Pisces is a water sign, this water energy is definitely going to be emphasized. Think very intense flooding emotions. There might be literal events that take place related to water, or there could be a symbolic cleansing moment. Think about like purges, releases, spiritual detoxes, lots of crying, so on and so forth. And again, this eclipse really asks you to surrender what you cannot control, but trust that the release that you're going to be getting is necessary. Now, this eclipse is also making a few aspects. It's going to be opposing Mercury, which can definitely bring up a heavy mental overload. Your thoughts and your feelings might be clashing. There could be miscommunications, secrets revealed, or news that comes out that could shift your perspective on something, someone, a situation, whatever. Conversations might be intense, but the things that have been said are definitely going to hold weight. And you might notice that like thoughts, ideas, communications, correspondences, whatever that you have around this time might be something that is important or might be something that comes back up later. And the eclipse is also in a trine with Jupiter, which is the planet that rules the eclipse, which does soften the energy, you know, especially with Jupiter being exalted in Cancer. Even though things feel a little bit chaotic or crazy, you can trust that Jupiter is bringing opportunities. This is divine timing. This is a cleansing eclipse again, and making room for wisdom, faith, growth, opportunities, successes. And there's a hidden lesson or blessing that might be unfolding, even if you aren't seeing it immediately. So, you know, this could, maybe you have like a spiritual or emotional breakthrough that leads you to have a lot of growth or progress further on in your life as it relates to something. Or, you know, this could just cause and create the energy for a lot of significant growth later on, because again, Jupiter is growth, it's success, it's abundance, it's opportunity, it's wealth, it's all of the things. And Jupiter, the ruler, is in a square with Mars, so this can start tension, conflict, or rash actions. Instead of surrendering gracefully, people might find that they are acting with frustrations. They might be trying to force control, when again, remember, we're trying to relinquish it, because Jupiter still wants growth, but Mars is going to make that growth come through struggle, conflict, cuts. Mars represents literal separation or even a confrontation first in order to get to that growth. And then 2 weeks later, we have the partial solar eclipse that takes place on the 21st, again, 3:54 p.m. at 29 degrees of Virgo. Now, this is really interesting because this is the second new moon of Virgo season. So we had a new moon that took place at 0 degrees of Virgo, and now we have an eclipse that's taking place at 29 degrees of Virgo. So we opened Virgo season with a new moon, and we're ending Virgo season with a new moon eclipse, which really brings the energy of new beginnings in this particular area of your chart. And again, being that this second new moon is an eclipse, it's really intensifying that energy. And this can signify like disruptions, endings. But even in general, with this being a new moon, I would say more so that this is going to be beginnings or opportunities, the more so endings. But just in general, being in Virgo, this eclipse can definitely highlight themes of work, health, routine, service, control, order, and discernment. A reset button is definitely pushed in these areas, which may cause disruption. But again, what is unstable is pointing you toward greater discernment, clearer habits, and a more sustainable daily rhythm. Virgo is a sign that loves details, clarity, and precision. So a solar eclipse here can bring confusion, mistakes, or breakthroughs in the systems that we do rely on. Matters of illness, food, digestion, balance in the body might come to the forefront. This can definitely stir unrest when it comes to routines, changes in how we're being productive and our efficiency as a whole, major changes when it comes to how we are productive as a whole, and how we get things done really in all areas of our life. This can be a time for you to let go of what is overworked, what is cluttered, what is mismanaged, making room for cleaner habits or structures. And again, this is where this newness energy comes in. And we're asked to return to simplicity, to cut away what is necessary, and to focus on what is useful and what is productive. And even again, like, this is a great time to start a new habit, to start a new workout regimen, a new routine. If you feel like your relationship with productivity or efficiency is not good, this could be a time for you to kind of rethink some of these things. And again, think about your approach to productivity and how effective you are. And even again, when it comes to things like your health, your diet, all of that, or so things that are associated with Virgo, this could be a really good time. Like, I made a TikTok about this the other day, but like, I don't know if y'all be feeling it, but like, Virgo season, every time the sun is in Virgo, every time we have a lunation in Virgo, whatever the fuck happens, it makes me want to clean up. It makes me want to be productive. It makes me want to be effective. And you can really use this energy to get a lot of things done, especially if you feel like you need major changes in some of these Virgo areas. And the new moon is going to make aspects to Mercury. It's going to be in a trine with Pluto and Uranus. And it's also going to be opposing Neptune. Now, with it being conjunct Mercury, this is interesting because, again, Mercury is the ruler of this lunation, but it's also conjunct Mercury. So the mercurial energy is strong, baby. And this can really put the mind on overdrive. Information, announcements, or decisions can arrive suddenly, but again, all of it might not necessarily be clear. Miscommunications might be likely, but there are truth hidden in the details that you can surface. So I would definitely encourage you to, of course, pay attention to the things that are said, but you also want to pay attention to the things that people are not saying as well. Again, it's in a trine with Pluto and Uranus, which really brings big transformation energy. Old systems might crack open and new methods are arriving. There could be revolutions in health, tech, your routines, and there's a chance to release what is toxic, which is the Pluto energy, but also embrace innovation and change, which is the Uranian energy. It's opposing Pluto and not Pluto, it's opposing Saturn and Neptune, which are conjunct each other, which is the push and pull between reality and illusion, discipline versus escapism. The eclipse might reveal where you've been overly idealistic, confused, or weighed down by restrictions. Saturn makes things feel heavy, but Neptune can make things foggy. And it's not easy, but it can bring a lot of clarity. And Mercury, which is the ruler, again, is conjunct the eclipse, so it's making all of the same aspects, which really reiterates and doubles down on a lot of this energy. And I would say, even with the fact that I'll notice that in general, if you see any one placement in somebody's chart being aspected by all three of the outer planets, that can indicate that there's a lot of transformation. There's a lot of things that are changing. There's just a lot of stuff going on. And again, thinking about how eclipses are just so catalytic and transformative in general, thinking about the fact that this eclipse is going to make aspects to all three of the outer planets really intensifies the energy, because when you think about the outer planets, they represent extremes. Like, Pluto is transformation, Uranus is significant change, and Neptune is like a deep, intuitive, intimate connection. It's a very extreme connection. And again, with all of that energy being there, it's just time for something new, time for something different, I'll say, period. And now for a little intermission. Follow me on all of the platforms: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Moon Real Mommy. If you want a reading, if you like the way that I do astrology, if you have any questions about yourself, your life, the eclipses, any of these transits, whatever, I can answer them for you. If you book a birth chart reading, click that link in my bio, or I'll put the link in the description box too. And then I also have a Patreon. There is an astrology membership. I have like 350 people in the community. You don't have to pay to be there. There's still benefits and access to my notes, to some things that I like, different documents that I'll type up. When I say notes, I mean like the videos that I do for YouTube and TikTok. I'll type up some things and I'll put them on the Patreon as well too. But if you decide that you want to become a paid member for $15 a month, you get to ask me one question a month that I can answer in a mini reading. So it's very effective if you like astrology and want to build a relationship or a connection with me. So tap in. But now what we're going to do is do mini horoscopes for the eclipses. I'm going to be brief because, again, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm sleepy and I'm trying to work on my brevity when it comes to these videos anyways, because I feel like, bitch, I can be long-winded. So let's just get straight to it. So if you are an Aries rising, the lunar eclipse in Pisces is taking place in the 12th house, which can bring an emphasis to hidden matters, secrets, or subconscious patterns that are coming to light. There might be an emotional release around solitude, retreat, or your mental health, your connection that you have with yourself internally. There might be some illusions or some hidden enemies or some sneaky shit that has gone on behind the scenes that is revealed. Your mental health, your mind, your spirit might feel drained, and I would definitely encourage you to get some rest and maybe spend some time alone. And again, release what you cannot control and trust that what you are releasing is gonna be okay and it's for the better. And then this solar eclipse in Virgo is going to be in the 6th house, which brings a reset when it comes to work, health, your daily routines. There might be miscommunications when it comes to your coworkers and the people that you deal with on a daily basis when it comes to your work or productivity. Your negative or toxic habits might be exposed, but this is a chance for you to clean and renew and to become more effective or better with those things. There might be breakthroughs when it comes to wellness practices or your scheduling or your productivity or your habits. And there can be the potential for long-term improvements when it comes to discipline if you decide that you want to commit. If you are a Taurus rising, the lunar eclipse in Pisces is taking place in your 11th house. Which can bring endings or revelations when it comes to your friendships or your social circles. There can be illusions about your allies or your networks that might collapse. You might notice that there's some stuff going on behind the scenes with the people that you deal with or interact with, some of your friends. There might be some emotional distance from communities or groups or friends that you might no longer feel aligned with. You might be releasing goals or hopes or ideals that are not realistic anymore. And there might be tension between loyalty and independence, your connections and what you want to do for yourself. And then the solar eclipse in Virgo is taking place in your 5th house, which is a turning point when it comes to romantic or creative projects. There might be misunderstandings when it comes to your love life or with your children. Themes of, if you have kids, or themes of children might become prominent at this time period. You might find yourself connecting with passion projects that might even be transformed. You might find yourself going into a new direction with some of your habits, or not habits, but with some of your hobbies or things that you're creating. This can even be a reset in joy. What truly makes you happy? What feels good to you? What do you like to do? And there could definitely be some innovations and breakthroughs when it comes to creative expression. If you're a Gemini rising, the lunar eclipse in Pisces is in your 10th house. So your career, your public reputation might be shaken up a little bit. There might be some authority figures that are exposed, or some things with authority might come up in general. There could be endings when it comes to some professional goals or ambitions that you have. So maybe you enter a new role or a new phase, or maybe, you know, a dream is deferred and you decide you don't want to do that no more and not right now. There might be illusions about your role in the world in general that might be dissolving. And there could even be some tension between, you know, balancing your career in your home or your family life. If you are Gemini rising, the solar eclipse in Virgo is in the 4th house. So there could be a reset when it comes to your home, your family, or your living situation. Old family patterns might be resurfacing, and this could be a time to release them or do some shadow work in relation to that. There might be some transformations when it comes to your private life or your foundation. Something could happen that could like shake up your foundation. There could be miscommunications in the household. And this could be a really good time for you to connect with yourself, connect with your roots, your family, your ancestry, your history, and really build strong roots. If you're a Cancer rising, like me, the lunar eclipse in Pisces is in the 9th house. So you might find yourself at a spiritual or philosophical turning point. You might be questioning things, looking at things from a different perspective. There might be illusions when it comes to faith, religion, or learning that are stripped away. There might be some possible endings that come up related to like a teacher or a mentor. There might be some travel disruptions, or there might be some revelations that come from a trip or something like that. And this could be a really strong emotional reset when it comes to your beliefs and your values. And that puts the solar eclipse in Virgo in your third house, which can be a communication reset, especially related to things like your siblings, your neighbors, your peers, your local environment. There might be miscommunications or misinformation that is exposed. Some things could be coming out. There might be new beginnings when it comes to studying, learning, writing. You might decide that you want to learn something new or to dive deeper in a topic that you are already interested in. There might be different breakthroughs or experiences or things that happen in the way that you connect or relate to other people. There could be some short trips, some contracts, some business things, some communication things that are shifting or changing for you as well. If you're a Leo rising, this eclipse is taking, the lunar eclipse is taking place in the 8th house, which can bring endings when it comes to shared finances, debts, loans, anything like that could come up. There might be some secrets about money or your partnerships that are surfacing. There might be some emotional purging about fears that you have related to anything but control, losses, anything like that. This could be a really good time for you to release the things or ties or connections that you might find to be draining or overwhelming. And if you are no, this will be taking place in the 2nd house, the solar eclipse in Virgo, which can definitely be a reset in money and personal resources. There might be miscommunications about, pay, your values, the things that you value monetarily. The 2nd house isn't your specific values or your worth. Your spending habits might collapse. There might be some new budgeting that might need to be addressed. There could be breakthroughs when it comes to your financial strategies or plans. And this could be a chance for you to rebuild security, stability, really think about your relationship between independence, which is the 2nd house, but being dependent on other people and their resources, which is the 8th house. And I forgot to mention about the overall axis is like the second for Cancer rising, like I said, that for Leo rising, of course, 2nd house is your resources, the 8th house is other resources. So that whole axis is about independence and dependence. The whole axis for Cancer risings with the 3rd house, the 9th house, what you know to be true and how you share that with other people. That access, education, learning, knowledge is emphasized. For Gemini risings, the 4th, 10th house axis, again, your home versus your private life. For Taurus risings, the 11th house and the 5th house, again, your community and the people that you're connecting with versus how you're sharing those things or what you're doing with those people. And then the Aries axis, of course, the Aries rising axis is the 12th house, which is your mental health, versus the 6th house, which is your physical health. Like, these are all things that are being emphasized. And then with this Virgo rising axis, it's really emphasizing the 7th house, which is your relationships and other people, versus the 1st house, which is you and your needs and what you got going on. And yeah, if you're Virgo rising, the lunar eclipse in Pisces is taking place in the 7th house, which can bring major endings or revelations when it comes to your partnerships or connections. You might have illusions or fantasies about a partner or somebody that you know that are dissolved. There could be some emotional revelations when it comes to your relationships as a whole. There can be conflict between your needs and the needs of other people. And this could be a really good time for you to release unhealthy attachments. And then this puts that solar eclipse in Virgo in the 1st house of self. So again, a personal reset when it comes to your body, your health, your identity. Your old self-image fades, and it's a time for a new self-image, a new connection with yourself. There could be potential miscommunications about who you are or how you present yourself. You might find yourself being transformative when it comes to your style, your health, your confidence. And this could be a really cool chance for you to reinvent yourself. And again, now everything repeats, but in the opposite way. So because Libra is opposite from Aries, it's going to emphasize that 6th, 12th house axis again, but in the reverse. So think about the relationships between the axes. I don't know what that plural of axes is, but think about the things that I mentioned about each axis, and it flips when it comes to the sister sign. So, if you're a Libra rising, this lunar eclipse is taking place in Pisces in your 6th house, which again can bring endings when it comes to work, your health, or your daily grind. There might be illusions that are exposed in your workplace. You might find yourself feeling overwhelmed or exhausted, and you might need to really do something about that. There can be a need for you to have healthier habits, have healthier boundaries when it comes to other people, have healthier boundaries when it comes to your work and the things that you're doing and how you're taking care of or connecting with others. And the things that you're doing for other people, because the sixth house is the house of like labor and work and service. And then also it emphasizes letting go of unstable routines. And then the solar eclipse in Virgo is in the 12th house, which puts a reset when it comes to your solitude, your mental health. Miscommunications or hidden information might be exposed. There could be old fears or subconscious habits that are revealed. There could be breakthroughs when it comes to your healing or connecting with your mental health. And it just really emphasizes a need for space for rest, retreat, and release. Scorpio rising, the lunar eclipse in Pisces is in the 5th house. So this could bring up endings in love, romance, or creative projects. Illusions when it comes to dating or pleasure could be revealed. You might have an emotional turning point with children, or things in general with children could be emphasized. This could be a time for you to release unrealistic passions and the things that you don't love or don't enjoy anymore, or things that you thought you enjoyed. Maybe it's time to look at something differently. And again, it's really just a good time for you to focus on authentic joy and what makes you happy and what you like and what you want to do. And then the solar eclipse in Virgo is in your 11th house, which is a reset in friendships, in community ties and connections. You might have miscommunications with people that you are connected with. Your old goals in your social circles might be shifting. It might be time for you to make new connections or to pursue different goals. You might find breakthroughs in networking and collaborations. This could be a really good time for you to, again, meet new people to connect with, to work with. And you can even find that new friendships or connections are emerging as well. If you're a Sag rising, the lunar eclipse in Pisces is in the 4th house, which can definitely emphasize and bring up matters of family and home that could be exposed. There might be endings in your living arrangement or something that changes within your living situation as a whole. There might be some emotional revelations that take place as it pertains to your ancestry or your roots. You might have conflict when it comes to balancing your private life versus your career. You might be releasing outdated family dynamics or letting go of things related to your family. The solar eclipse is in the 10th house, which puts a career or a public role reset to the forefront. There might be some things that you have to deal with when it comes to bosses or authority figures. Your old ambitions are collapsing and new ones are arising. There could be breakthroughs when it comes to your reputation or status as a whole. And you might even find yourself wanting to redirect yourself when it comes to your career. You might want to do something different. If you are Capricorn rising, this lunar eclipse in Pisces is in the 3rd house, which could bring up endings when it comes to your siblings, your neighbors, your local environment, connections there. There could be some illusions or things that come up when it comes to communications, or learning. Or you might decide that you want to let go of an idea or something that you have known to be true, or look at something from a different perspective. You might find yourself having some mental clarity after a bit of emotional confusion. If you're traveling, your trip might be disrupted, or there might be some things that go on with like your car or transportation or something like that. And it's a good time to release false narratives, let go of gossip or toxic communication patterns, things of that nature. And the solar eclipse of Virgo is taking place in the 9th house, which is a reset when it comes to your faith, your spirituality, your religion, higher learning, travel, anything like that. There could be new ideas or new values or beliefs when it comes to education, philosophy, or morals. You might find yourself, again, looking at things from a different perspective and dissolving those old things, those old beliefs, to emerge with new wisdom. There might be breakthroughs when it comes to your study, your educational pursuits, or your spiritual life as a whole. And this could be a turning point in your overall worldview and perception of life. If you're an Aquarius rising, this is taking place. The lunar eclipse in Pisces is in the 2nd house. So there could be some endings when it comes to your finances or your material security. There could be illusions when it comes to your money or your possessions that are exposed. You might have to reevaluate what is important to you financially, or even thinking about your relationship with your needs, your safety, your security. The second house is more than just your money, it's your sustenance as a whole. There might be some things that are revealed or that come up as it pertains to your money or your income. And you might have to release toxic spending or toxic attachments, or even a toxic relationship with yourself and your needs and your security and your nourishment. And the solar eclipse in Virgo is in the 8th house, which can bring a reset when it comes to debts, shared resources. There might be some things that come up again with your finances or your connections that you have with other people. You might be releasing or letting go of old financial entanglements. So like a loan, you might owe somebody some money and finally paid them back. Even thinking about like healing and vulnerability. The 8th house is a house that has connotations with the physical things that we take from people, but the intangible things that we take from people. So like grief, loss, trauma, a lot of those things can be seen in the 8th house as well too. And this can be a chance for you to restructure yourself financially. And lastly, if you are a Pisces rising, this eclipse is in the 1st house, the lunar eclipse, which can bring personal endings and emotional reset. You might be letting go of illusions or things that you had to put on or maybe perform when it comes to your personal identity. You might be releasing old self-images or patterns about yourself. You might find that relationships are testing your boundaries, and it's just a time for you to renew and restore and to really connect with yourself. And this solar eclipse in Virgo is in the 7th house, which resets your partnerships, your close relationships. Your miscommunications and your dynamics with other people might be emphasized in general. Again, old relationship dynamics might collapse. You might realize, like, okay, I don't want to be with this person anymore. I don't want this friend. I don't want to connect in that way. There could be breakthroughs in how you connect with other people and commit to them. And this could really be an overall opportunity for you to form healthier bonds and to build better relationships and to connect with better people. That was a lot. So yeah, I'm going to stop talking now. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not already subscribed. Follow me on all of the platforms, Moonworld Mommy. And again, the link is in my bio to book a birth chart reading, moonworldmommy.com. Thank you so much for watching. I love y'all down. Don't let these eclipses drag you by your edges. Again, like I kept emphasizing throughout this video, control what you can, release what you can't, and just embrace the change, because change is going to happen. Things are going to happen in your life. You got to go with the flow. Like you can't just, you can be stagnant. You can try to ignore the things that are going on, but it's like, what's the point in that? So good luck with eclipse season. You got this. All of the craziness, all of the chaos, just know that it's for a larger reason.